Yeah, so they're pretty much made their 10 companies all Vanguard, and plus their scouts just get thrown in wherever.
Welcome, loyal adherents of the Emperor and the Emperor's, well, I would say glorious allied forces. Some would call them Eldar. Others would call them pointy ears. There are many names we use for them. For now, they are friend, not foe. I am Arthur Perkins, and this is APGamingREAL. This week has been a crucially busy one for me. Very busy. I accomplished many particular tasks, ones that I am uniquely suited for. Spending money, doing things, disappointing Ponder the Mad. Repeatedly, that last one. I mean, there is no one more uniquely skilled for that particular task, and I must say, I really fell to the occasion on that one. My Game of Thrones show has launched. At some point, Battletech will return, hopefully sooner rather than later. Tough to say right now. And I don't know, I learned that Grimdark James decided to have his character's daughter join Crow's Black. Or at least put in an application, so we'll see how that goes. You know, gotta keep the family business alive, which is apparently working with mercenaries.
We can't hire her. Couldn't do that to Citadel. She'll die.
I mean, Citadel's
What did she
still
apply
alive.
for as a mech warrior?
Yeah.
I mean, she'll die, and then he'll have to come kill us, and it'll be this whole thing, and
You know, that's not how the story always goes. Sometimes people join your mercenary unit and they die, and then the family goes, I guess they died doing an extremely dangerous job. No reason to take revenge on them. I guess she chose to kill people for money for a living. I wonder if anything bad might happen.
Back to all the people in BattleTech that we faced that had someone they're close to die and then enact revenge. So
Look, man.
Yeah, so someone could do that, but judging from past history, it's not a high likelihood of that happening.
Well, that's mostly because you killed the whole family. Look, I'm just saying the last few cousins of the Bread family, season 5, they show up right in that mid-season episode. Try to hunt down Bandito. You know what I'm talking about, friends at home.
At least she's not like directly involved. Drummer Boy's character's daughter's directly involved in our party.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So she's actually she's with the party. The first thing I did was give her a pair of axes because, of course.
Yeah, you know, self-defense axes.
The dwarf is going to teach her how to fight. All right.
They're the perfect defensive weapon. The axe.
Why? Yeah.
you can bash someone in the head with it.
You just apply it directly to the face. Problem solved.
Well, it's dual purpose.
Apply directly to the.
Well, I gave her 2, so you know, back of the knee and then in the throat. You know, there's just watch Vikings. Essentially, you can just get all like the technique down really for just going crazy with a pair of axes.
I don't even know what to say to this. Please do not teach your 2-day-old children how to use axes.
To be fair, she was like a newborn overnight, 10 years old. She's 10 years old. Like she's the equivalent of a 10-year-old. So
please do not teach your 10-year-olds
or give your newborn axes. I'm not gonna teach you how to parent.
I am. No, I'm gonna tell you that is a bad plan. Okay. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say no. Do not teach your newborn how to wield an axe. It will end poorly for everyone involved.
Look, right now, I'm my kids think I'm the worst parent because I won't let my 8-year-old play Borderlands 3.
Well, you shouldn't let him play Borderlands 3 for a variety of reasons. The violence is not up there, but
yeah, I think they need another 10 years or so before they're ready for that game.
No, you just need to teach them, you know, why. And anyway, Sid knows what I'm on about.
I don't know. I played a grand total of maybe 12 minutes of that game just so I could have some footage, and that was basically it.
Of everybody in here, you were most qualified to know exactly what I'm talking about and why you should not play Borderlands 3.
It didn't hold my interest even within the first 10
I mean, it looks exactly like Borderlands 1 and 2.
That's everything. Everybody I know who's played it, they're like, "Oh, did you like 2?" I was like, I only played it because I played it with other people. Like, well, if you like 2, 3 is pretty much the exact same thing. Outdated humor, outdated memes. This is just the same formula. I'm like, why?
Outdated everything. Yeah.
See, jumping from 1 to 2 was great. It was actually a pretty fun game.
Well, yeah, that was they've fixed a lot of things, but now it's just like it's more of. I've heard some people say it's more of just like 2.5 than an actual sequel.
Okay.
It's just the same shit again. So
look, the D&D DLC for 2 was where they capped out for me, and that was it. Like, you do that shit and then you're done.
I liked it, except for the fact that it was Tiny Tina, whose voice just literally.
It's actually Birch. What's wrong with you?
Her voice just grates on what's left of my psyche.
That says a lot about you.
I don't like children. They give me headaches.
A friend of mine did voice act a couple of characters in Borderlands 3. So
is that friend of you Rachel Messer?
Yes, that would be Rachel Messer.
Oh, what characters did she voice?
I'm gonna have to go back.
Sid, you son of a! Why? How? Look.
Let me Google that for you real quick.
The setup, you could alley-oop off of that shit, and you still
have to understand
you still fumbled the football 2 inches from the end zone and then couldn't even get it on the green. Okay,
I may as well just mute myself while I talk. No, I'm sick and I'm exhausted. So
I mean, I saw your stuff on Twitter like the past couple. Like you've been working 48 hours over the past 24.
Over the course of this week, excepting last night, I got a grand total of 7 hours of sleep over the whole week.
Yeah,
it was rough.
I know that feel just because I'm a intermittent insomniac.
The main she voiced 2 or 3 characters in there, and the main one she did was Vic, which is a character in one of the side quests.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm sure the game is fine. It's not the game I have a problem with. It's everything else attached to it.
From what I've been seeing, that the PC version is a buggy mess.
Oh yeah, no, it's a complete clusterfuck.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 was the same way, but it's, it's epic and all their bullshit.
Probably fine, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember 2 being buggy.
It was one of those things where
I never even played it, and I remember seeing a great many bugs.
Two was one of those problems where either you had it was unplayable or completely fine, and it was hit or miss for like each person. And you could have same process, like you could have 2 identical setups. One would just would not work for him. The other guy worked just fine. It was just fucking insane.
I played 2 on the console, and I didn't really have any problems at all.
Well, that's on the console.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't understand what's with PC and always getting like buggy messes to begin with.
Oh, it's just the variants.
Support.
Support. It's just companies not giving a fuck and not doing their QA properly. I mean, not that you could do it. You can't do it perfectly just because there's so much variation, but they just don't care these days because it costs money.
Mm-hmm. And plus, they know the vast majority of that are the fans of the franchise are going to buy it, even if it is a buggy mess.
Yeah.
Like I heard that Epic Games did a port of all of the Quantic Dream games, like Beyond Human and Heavy Rain, and into the PC, and because they're designed around this whole controller QuickTime event, and apparently they're really hard to play on the PC because it doesn't translate well to the keyboard.
You absolutely need a key.
That was the biggest problem when Dark Souls first came to the PC. Was you literally, like, it was impossible to play with a keyboard and mouse. I mean, there were people that went through and tore the game apart trying to get it to work. It was just such a fucking mess. If you didn't have a controller, it was unplayable, literally unplayable. So,
well, you have to play like do combos like in Mortal Kombat just to kick someone.
Well, fighting games like that are different.
Anyway. Yeah, fighting games are
anyways.
I was making the joke with the Dark Souls controls where you have to do a special combination of.
Well, I mean, like it's not like, I mean, if companies actually give a shit, it's doable. Like I played the first Darksiders with like keyboard and mouse, fine. And it's like, and I think that one hit PC before Dark Souls did, right? Before they brought that one over. So it was doable. They just didn't give a shit. So
it's really simple. Rebindable keys. Ain't that friggin' hard.
Fucking what? Black magic and sorcery. How dare you?
Rebindable keys that work.
No.
I've had many games I've played where you can keybind the stuff, but they just don't work for whatever reason.
I still love coming across the occasional game that doesn't differentiate between left control and right control, because I use right control as my push to talk because I have it bound to my mouse. So I'll go to push to talk and then crouch. I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, this
drives me crazy.
Oh, we just used control because who cares?
Yeah, what it is, God, shit drives me crazy.
Heaven forbid you actually differentiate. You know.
I watched a video this week on YouTube where they've got the actors who played Liu Kang and Johnny Cage in the original Mortal Kombat film to come back and play the Mortal Kombat arcade game with the host of the show. And the guy that played Johnny Cage was absolutely destroying him in the game. But you watch his hands, and he was just mashing the keys. Like he was palming the whole set of controls, hoping to get something that worked, and he won.
That is the Johnny Cage way of playing, though.
It really is.
Your brother's soul is mine. God, that movie was so bad.
Oh, it wasn't even B movie grade, but it was just straight up cheesy goodness. I like the sequel was dog shit, but
the Corridor Digital guys do a thing of like because they're all visual effects guys, and they like they tear apart CG in movies, and they went after showed Mortal Kombat where oh god, what's his face transforms or whatever. It's like the head turns into teeth. It's just so bad.
Yeah, his eyes become his teeth. Yeah, it's a really bad morph.
Yeah, it's really, but it's like of all the video game movies, it's bad, but it's a classic at this point for that reason.
Okay, well, let's start with intros. Pondo, I decided to slander you pretty early on, so we'll open up with you.
Okay. I mean, what you said, you're not the worst person that's disappointed me in the past. There's been other people's that heavily disappointed me.
No. What I said was that I'm uniquely skilled to disappoint you. I'm in a position to do it on a regular basis. I didn't say I was the best at it. I don't know that I would want to be the best at disappointing you.
That's good, because usually I disenfranchise those people and don't talk to them ever again.
Wow. Pono just laid out the future of our relationship. Okay.
That got dark real quick.
Wow. Okay, well, if we never see Pondo again and he never speaks to me, you know why, guys?
My week's been pretty all right. I haven't really done much, to be honest. No, I haven't really done much at all. I've been looking up a lot of gun stuff as of late. I do know why. It's because we've been talking a bunch of gun stuff, and
because I bought a new gun this week.
Welcome to every day of my life.
I mean, I bought my AR-15, so
I mean, I was looking at the AR-15 Beowulf the other day.
Well, the 50 cal version, because
50 Beowulf.
Yeah, I saw that on your Twitter feed. You realize the thing is ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
it absolutely is.
When I went to the gun shop, they had one there. I was like, "Oh, look, there it is, Armstrong Arms, 50 cal Beowulf." Okay.
Well, I mean, it's designed for two. It's designed for hunting two things: wild pigs and bears.
Yeah, when your magazine size is 7, you know that bullet is pretty fucking big.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when you see the videos of guys shooting, like, there's a lot of video you can go watch, because obviously wild pigs, open season year round, because they're pests. They do, tens of millions of dollars worth of damage to crops and everything else, especially in Texas. So it's open season year round. So you get guys that go out there in VGs and stuff and hunt them at night. It's the best time to hunt them. And you'll just see these things taking 7.62 and just shrugging them off. And it's like, yeah, no, I'd go after it with 50. I see why these guys hunt them from helicopters. It's like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, it actually takes a surprising amount to put those things down.
Oh, yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, and you definitely want to put them down quick, because once they get close into you, you're going to get messed up.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're huge. There's a pretty good business. I think one of the guys, if you've seen Black Hawk Down, which almost every dude has, a guy that shoots.
I watch it every July 4th.
Yeah, right. The guy that shoots the one pig in the movie, the real life guy, actually runs a business.
This is Texas, my safety.
Yeah, that guy
Jesus.
Actually runs a business in Texas, I believe, still, where you can go hunt wild pigs from helicopters.
Oh my god. I want to take that guy to a fucking firearm safety course and just lock him in the room. Every time I watch that movie, I cringe really badly.
Yeah.
There's another AR-15 variant where it shoots a 458 SOCOM, which is a little bit small of a round, but
you still use it for hunting pigs. Essentially, that's what it's pretty much designed for.
It would mess a pig up. I don't.
Oh yeah.
There's another thing I was thinking about that they made a variant of.
It's in every caliber you can imagine.
Oh yeah, it's you can shoot at the 7.62 by 39, which is typically what an AK uses.
Yep.
Or just 7.62 by 54, yada yada yada.
Realize if we keep talking about this and Arthur posts this video on YouTube, it'll probably get his channel demonetized.
Well, look, if it's not getting demonetized already because I'm in it,
they go hard against any form of firearms talk. Yeah. They really do.
I've been wanting. Who is it? Brownells makes a recreation of the M16 A1. The Gen 1 Vietnam issue. Like they make an upper handguard, but like the whole kit. And I kind of want to put one together just for giggles, just to have one. I don't need it, but I want it. Because
I don't need a Beowulf, but I want it.
Until you buy ammunition for it.
There's a lot. There's many other things that I could definitely spend $2,000 on, which is much more worthwhile. Oh yeah, no, like people think that stuff's expensive, and then there's a guy at my local range here in Florida. I mean, a lot of states have them, but it's a county-owned range. It goes out to about 1,000 yards, and there's a guy down there who shoots 338 Lapua. And you talk to him, and it's like, you might as well just be loading $5 bills into the magazines, because it's about $5 a round if you were to buy it retail. But the thing is it's about a $1,500 rifle, but he's got $4,000 worth of glass sitting on top of it. It's like scopes is where you start spending real money. So, yeah, stuff gets expensive. Yeah, but those scopes.
Well, I mean, you can also obviously switch them out. Like if I were to get another platform, I could take my 1x4, even though my 1x4 is set up for 5.56, but I could put it on another rifle. But yeah, no, good glass is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's been my week.
If you have any questions, just let me know, because it's my shit.
I've been watching like crap ton of Forgotten Weapons videos.
Oh, Gun Jesus.
Gun Jesus, is that what they call it?
That's his name. No, okay. I'll link you a video. He did a 3-gun match, literally, because everybody says he looks like Jesus. The Western picture of Jesus. So he actually did a 3-gun match dressed up as Jesus with a shotgun. So
I want to see this.
I'll find it. I'll also have to find something else I have. I have a copy of his book on the way. It's like the only thing I've ever backed on Kickstarter. He did a book on French weapons. But yeah, no, Forgotten Weapons is the ship.
That's been my week.
Okay, James, let's talk about you. How's your week been? 2 weeks, really.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm getting ready for Armies on Parade in October, which is GW's sort of painting competition where you're supposed to bring out like a diorama of a large group of models. So I've been preparing my Hawkshroud Night Army for that. So I've got 9 nights to paint. I've done 5 so far. Got 4 left to do. Got 2 weeks still to go. Plus I've got to build a diorama. So I've actually forgone any computer gaming this week to focus on just hardcore painting. I haven't touched Greedfall since last weekend, and I've only been playing Fire Emblem when I've been in transit to places and I haven't been driving. So it's a good, the Switch is good to actually pull out in the car on the bus. But I actually also bought Astral Chain yesterday, but haven't actually loaded it up yet.
Let me know how that is.
Yeah, no, we'll do. But it's been my fortnight, really. It's a lot of work and a lot of painting. Oh, and I got absolutely wrecked in 40K last night. I played a game with a friend, and I had Sid-like levels of luck. I think at one point I had to roll like 13. That's rough. I had to roll 13 3+, re-rolling 1s, and I rolled 7 2s in that.
Wow.
That was a summary of my luck last night.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but also I did I've been running my Pendragon game too. Actually, it's been a lot of fun.
Oh boy, you guys are playing through the Great Pendragon campaign?
Yes, yeah, and actually I was watching Stephen Lumpkin's playthrough of Great Pendragon campaign with a friend of the show, Eric Vulgaris, on it as well. And I actually just finished their sort of season or their run of that yesterday. watching that. So that's been me.
Yeah, I think they keep talking about trying to get that back together, but I don't know that it's ever going to happen. Those guys are all
been 2
really
years.
busy. Yeah, but they keep talking about it. Listen, every time I hear about it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is happening. Oh shit. One day.
Well, you did it too, didn't you? I think I've seen that you've got.
I've run Great Commander Gun campaign 3 times now. I just never got it very far.
All right.
20.
We've been playing now.
I don't know what you're doing. What are you lifting?
My Gun Jesus poster of Ian from Forgotten Weapons. I've shown Pondo.
Okay.
It came with his book. It's a joke. It's a joke to the Forgotten Weapons people.
Really confused.
Pondo knows what I'm talking about.
How are you finding Pendragon?
I quite like it, actually. I have probably opened up the world a little bit more than I haven't been keeping entirely purist to the setting. But it's sort of, I don't know. I have this impression that I can only run 2 styles of game. I can either run ridiculous comedy games or I can run dark horror games. Anything I try to run other than that ends up becoming one of those 2 things. And the Pendragon campaign has become sort of ridiculous comedy. And it's not because we play it as a joke. It's just that every time the players get invested in something, the system takes it away from them, and that becomes the joke, pretty much.
So I hear you saying that you've watched Stephen Lumpkin's game where Eric Vulgaris is a player. You should really watch Roleplay R&D the first time Stephen runs it. It's only like 8 or 9 episodes long, but it definitely turns into a comedy very quickly. One of the players is accused early on of being a Saxon, and he challenges to a duel over it and loses, and then for the rest of the game, they're just like, he lost that duel, must be a Saxon. And it comes up everywhere, like at surprising times. People are like, yeah, and he's a Saxon, and everyone's like, oh, I've heard of that guy, he's the Saxon. It's real good. That player basically melts down over it too.
You got to learn to roll with the punches.
Look, I know about only being able to run a couple types of games. Let me fill you in. I disappointed Pondo this week. He joined my new Corsair Port campaign, which is the one that I'll be running whenever I can't get enough players on the show. It's entirely about exploration. There's nothing to do in town. There's no quests. There's no NPCs there for anything to happen. Pondo and Sid, I guess, spent over an hour coming up with a shtick where they were going to sell refrigerators. They're going to create refrigerator boxes and then sell ice. And the whole first hour of the game was them trying to hawk this refrigerator at me. And I was like, man, I remember when this game was about adventuring into the wilderness and getting slaughtered by bears. And then they ventured into the wilderness and almost got slaughtered.
I would have been fine. Everybody else probably would have died.
I did die.
Yes, it did die.
But he got brought back to life, so.
Yeah, that makes it okay.
Got better.
So yeah, not everybody's into that adventure life only.
Look, you gotta have a backup plan, right?
The new game plus backup plan appears to be, whenever we're dying, run as far apart as possible, learn as much information as possible, don't make any attempt to save each other, just go down swinging and screaming.
Look, when Finley gets chased outside and it's like, well, he's fucked, let's get some reconnaissance, might as well. Because there was no saving him.
A friend of mine that's been watching this show says it's inspired him to run his own Wrath&Glory game. But he's like, but I want to do a bit more combat than you guys do. And I'm like, there's been combats in 90% of the show so far. 3 of our shows have just been war game with little to no role playing at all. Like, how much more combat do you want than what we get in this game so far?
All combat. Just all combat all the time.
I mean,
Let me introduce you, sir, to the Street Fighter RPG, which is pretty much a rule system around fighting.
I did.
Street Fighter has an RPG.
I did.
Did you not know that?
Oh, I did.
I had an only war game where essentially there was always combat. It's just that you know, it was like kind of just like little, like the combat would be broken up in little bits of just like dudes hanging out in a trench while shells are flying overhead. So it was like kind of like the combination of both, I guess, in a weird way, but it worked out pretty well. It wasn't just like, you know, oh, this session's more this and then this one's more combat, whatever. It was just kind of intermixed, like off and on, but it kind of worked really well for like that trench warfare type setting.
So you need to do it like animes where they just stop and start talking to each other for like 5+ minutes, and their opponents are just patiently waiting that entire time until they're done.
We had one thing where like our I guess our platoon leader or whatever, I think actually it was their commissar or whatever, was saying something, whatever else. Mid-word, his head gets taken off by a sniper. It's like, oh, fuck. It's like, you know, because he stuck his head up too high over a trench wall and it got blown off by a sniper. It's like, well, that ends that conversation real quick. And immediately into combat. So.
Copyright 1994 White Wolf Games. There you go.
1994. Sure, I've never heard of it.
I was just going to believe you, but then I saw you're looking for a book. I was like, there's no way he has it.
Have you looked behind him? Of course he has.
All right, James. You got
I thought that was
else?
A green screen. No.
And I'm good.
It's all green screen. Even the children, they're green screen every time they pop up. It's just really good CG.
Atomic, what do you got going on?
Probable food poisoning. So I've literally done nothing since Wednesday except be in sheer misery. I say food poisoning. I've had food poisoning a couple times, but I've just been miserable since Wednesday. I still haven't really eaten very much since then. So I've just been trying to sleep it all off and then just, you know, making dashing runs back and forth, really. I got the Space Marine Apocalypse whatever box with a bunch of there's a bunch of Space Marines in it for pretty good price. So I've been putting those together. I got the new Iron Hand stuff in, so I'm also converting those over. And then pretty much just been doing that and listening to music and being in pain and misery. So I haven't done a whole lot since Wednesday. Yeah. It's pretty much been it. Just been sick. Unfortunate, but you know, what can you do?
Okay. Got anything else?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Sid Alpha. Sid. How you been?
Sick. I thought I was feeling just extra run down and exhausted, but it turned out I was, but I managed to work myself into actually being sick. So I've been taking it easy today and doing as little as humanly possible. Thursday was fun. We were here Thursday playing that D&D stuff. And yeah, my dice rolling there was strong. I literally did nothing except get hit the entire time. That's true. I didn't land a single attack during that combat. Not one.
You didn't.
That might be true.
You did 0 damage.
I did 0 damage.
Yeah,
a whopping 0 damage.
Sometimes the real damage is the amount of damage you took for the rest of the party.
Is the companions that got succubied away from us?
I mean, look, it was very funny to me. And then Cotton and Connor spent about 2 hours trying to convince me that I was wrong.
I heard it was all day.
So yeah, it was a significant amount of my time. They had me at the point where I was like, shit, did I do it wrong? I better double check. And then I came back and I was like, no, I did it correct. Everything worked out.
So both of your fantasy games have now had players lost to succubi?
So their characters are stuck in the succubus nest now, and people need to go rescue them in order for them to come back.
The main problem is that you rolled for
values.
them without having them roll for it.
I understand, and that's because I was trying to do it secretly. I mean, I openly rolled, but didn't tell them what I was rolling for.
It's still a bit of iffy situation, especially in that sort of context.
I want to be super clear here. There once was a time where players didn't roll dice at all. DMs just rolled everything behind the screen and told you whether there was success or not.
That's fine, but that's not nowadays. The only ones I've seen do that is the people in Harmon Quest.
Yeah, I mean, Harmon Quest famously does it. They're bringing it back.
My Friday DM doesn't, like, his rolls are, he actually rolls dice in person, so we never, I mean, you could do GM rolls, but we don't ever see them. But players still roll all our stuff.
I don't know if Harmon Quest is bringing that back. It's more of just a joke in there.
Well, yeah, it is a joke every time. Like the one guy from Silicon Valley shows up with his whole bag of dice.
Oh yeah, just dumps it out on the table.
And just like, oh, he's like, you like to roll your own stuff? I just always have him roll it for me.
That was the last episode I watched. Actually, was that?
I've never had a DM where they roll all of our dice. Usually, it's just they don't want the players to see, like, especially with like initiative, like enemy initiative. But it's like after the first turn, you really kind of know. But
yeah, Harmon Quest, just, I don't know, there wasn't enough internal consistency there for me to really get into it.
Harmon Quest falls into that restart category. Random. They just did whatever in order to accomplish their goals.
Yeah.
Has anybody here played Numenera or The Strange, any of the Monty
I have.
games?
Famously, I've been insulted by one of the game designers of Numenera calling me Anthony repeatedly.
Okay. Just more from the point of view that it's a game where the GM never rolls. It's entirely player rolls.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's also true of something like Dungeon World or any of the Powered by the Apocalypse. Yep. The GM basically never rolls and the players always roll. I mean, the whole purpose of that was to provide a direct counter to the original D&D concept of only the GM rolls. So to round it about, Pondo, what I did might not have been something that is popular nowadays, at least in certain circles, but it is, however, open-rolled, classic Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, look, back in the Pathfinder Society days, sometimes you would roll a bunch of d20s ahead of time, and then when you needed to secretly have players make will tests, you would just be like, okay, well, you rolled a 3, 7, 12, and a 20 for these 4 people, just from your list. There are many ways, and I understand that my way right there was not popular with the players, and I'll be doing a different way in the future, but...
That other way you told me to also sounds very weird and...
What, pre-rolling a bunch of d20s?
Well, yeah. That's also PFS, which PFS is very much, you're not really...
Well, it wasn't specific to PFS. It's just that's when I learned to do it, is my PFS days.
Well, I've played a couple like PFS style. You know, it's less narrative and more of you're doing it. You know, because that's where a lot of your power gamers come into and stuff.
Well, that certainly is true.
Well, you're more about playing the game, like just like mechanically playing instead of narratively playing. You're just trying to doing it like that also just gets shit done faster.
I'm about to hit you with some personal truths, and they're going to hurt a whole lot for people that play Pathfinder Society and Adventuring League. Okay? But what I'm about to say, people who do those things, just accept it in your heart. Know that I have GM'd almost 1,000 instances of these things. And so what I say is absolute truth. The kind of people that play Pathfinder Society or an Adventuring League fall into one of 3 categories. Completely new people who are between groups, and the largest community by far are the people who are so bad at finding and maintaining groups, just the awfulest people possible. They will not be allowed into anybody else's groups, and so only by joining these public groups where they cannot be dismissed, the only way for them to play D&D or Pathfinder. That third group right there makes up a very large portion of PFS and Adventuring League.
Pretty much.
Yep, observationally true.
Observational truth. Wow, that sounds very Free Worlds League. Battletech right there. Sid, we were somewhere in your introduction before
realistically, I don't have anything else going on that has occurred over the past 48 hours, except I got more sleep last night than I did the entire rest of the week combined. And now I'm not feeling well. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Fantastic. It's a good thing that tonight's session, almost all of the role-playing points pivot on Antipho then.
Fantastic. It shall be answered with fully automatic fire. That solves everything.
You know what they say. Any social situation can be solved with an increasingly large fireball.
I didn't ask how large the room was.
Friends, does anyone remember what happened the last time we played this game?
We stormed a factory, manufactorum, whatever, that turned out to be full of cultists, and we executed the Emperor's Justice and took out a bunch of cultists and their Chaos Space Marine leader.
There was a daemon that possessed one of the cultists.
Yeah.
Lycus almost died.
Yeah.
He didn't get behind me.
I also got fucked up, and then we took care of that little problem, and then had to quickly de-ass the area before the, I guess, sororitas came in and burned the whole place to the ground with extreme prejudice. I believe Eshairr had some contact with a long-lost relative. And then we
executed our pilots.
Oh yes, yeah. We more or less
they saw chaos and getting corrupted. Had to be done.
We requisitioned a flying vehicle. Requisitioned.
Really, every time Lycus does that, it's my favorite part of literally any episode.
Yeah, I feel like it's like we're an 80s action TV show, and that's the comedy bit about how we get rid of the witnesses. It's like for the old A-Team, how do they get BA on the plane? You know, it's how do we get rid of the witnesses that saw what we did?
Just start pushing them off rooftops. I saw this on a show once.
Really? Wow. I thought in that show they just slammed a whole car onto them.
That was that was an accident, and it only happened one time.
The answer is yes.
I swear.
No, you pancaked people with that flying Cadillac more than once.
I don't recall that.
I'd recall it.
What I recall was throwing people off roofs.
Definitely yeeting people.
Definitely people throwing off roofs in that.
I remember being accused of being abusive towards women, so I threw the woman off the roof to prove that no one could accuse me of that.
Yeah. Attention, citizen. This is a carjacking. If you resist, it will turn into a homicide. That's essentially what went on last session.
The first thing that happens is we see Eshairr walking onto the Eternal Dancer, and at her side almost immediately is Captain Tanya Serona, who's just like, what has happened? You almost vibrate with energy.
Ortak, Tanya, it's a lot of things have happened in the last couple of days, or last day. I didn't give you the full story before. I exiled myself after the death of my mother. It wasn't long after I left the shrine. I blame myself for not being present when she needed me there, and in many ways I blame the Relatani for her death, as they were present on the craft world when she disappeared. Now on the world below, I found a servant of Kalrak, a thrice cursed solitaire who claimed to be my half sister, and she also bears my mother's face. I risked damnation to talk to her outside of the ritual form, but we spoke briefly, and it's her claim that my mother is still alive and now serves the laughing god.
Okay. So look, This might surprise you. I'm not an expert on Eldar culture, but she does the equivalent of getting you a cup of hot cocoa and a blanket and taking you to go see the local psychologist, who also happen to be weird warp fuckery specialists. So with your Eldar, your high quality Eldar blanket, it has a beautiful fractal pattern weave on it, by the way. Looks fantastic. And your hot cocoa, she's just like leading you by the shoulder deeper into the ship to the bowels of the Seers area. Just like, these things happen, you know. Sometimes we discover that our parents aren't actually dead, that we secretly have family members that are in the throes of you know, the ancient enemy. It happens to all of us from time to time, really. There's nothing to be concerned about. Just remain calm.
I'm not upset, I don't think, right now. It's strange, but also I wanted to give you something too. I had a gift. You've sort of helped me find a center again. I was glad that even though we've had many lives and paths since we were both together in the Warrior Shrine, we still remain friends. So I give her the Void Saber that I took from the Hunter's Lodge, wrapped up.
Okay.
The humans had this as a trophy. It would need some repairs, maybe some cleansing by the Craftwood artisans. But I know you already have the sword, but from my time spent with the Exodites, the Unrathi do make better blades than the Ashirani.
It would be... And then she, you know, uncovers the blade to see that it is a Void Saber, and some color drains from her, and she covers it back up quickly. There are some among my crew who would look upon this weapon as a desecration. I will need to strongly consider whether or not to destroy this.
I'll leave it to your good sense then.
I will consult with the Farseer.
I'd appreciate it too, when I do return to the human world. You have obviously resources as a leader within our people. If you'd be able to look in onto why the Rilatani are on this world, I have to believe that fate has placed them here for the same reason as me, especially if my family are among the number.
It is not for us to question the whims of fate. It is for us to listen to the directives that the Seers have given us. Unless perhaps that is a path that you would like to walk.
I'm simply following fate's path myself at the moment, but I'm having a hard time interpreting the skeins. So
that is why we are going to the Seers now. You require emotional balance and spiritual guidance. You should drink that cocoa. That Eldar version of cocoa. We'll call it El Coco.
All right.
Lycus, Antipho, Kalrak. At the same time, the three of you are waiting outside the door of the Inquisitor's office in his hidden fortress precinct. Fortress monastery, I should say. The door's open, but for once, the Inquisitor is not completely ready to meet with you. He appears to be literally on a field phone. You've seen this before. Maybe it's just a thing on this world. It's one of those, like, you know, trench style field phones, but it's inside a servitor's chest. And he's talking and saying, "Yes, Magos, I have the specimen still." It's almost as if the daemon burst out of him. I will be awaiting your arrival then. Excellent. Then he, like, puts it back in the servitor's chest and says, "Acolyte?"
Inquisitor?
I have received word from several field teams that there has been no further corruption among the client list of the fashion consultant who you slain.
That's good to hear.
It simply appears that the footage of that battle inspired people to choose those colors. There is nothing inherently heretical about it. Except for, of course, its poor taste and
You did see those colors, right?
clashing color scheme. Yes, Tempestus, I did in fact see those colors.
Hideous.
I just figured it'd been better to safe to be sorry.
That is your leeway as a acolyte. What are your plans moving forward? As you know, we only have a limited amount of time before this rogue trader arrives. I would like to wrap up any major business before that begins.
We are still looking for the heretic that caused the attack on the church and the planet-wide attack. Still looking for him, and then we still have the situation about the Arbites down in the hive to worry about.
You're speaking about Talrond aspects.
Yes.
He seems to be popping up in all of your investigations at every turn.
I imagine he's the main issue of what caused all these events.
How confident are you in your team members that none of them have betrayed you to him?
I haven't put a bullet in their heads yet, so...
And the rest of you? You have no complaints about the rest of your team? No sign of corruption or heresy?
None so far. If I detect even the slightest amount of corruption, I will purge them immediately.
Question. About the whole corruption system, because this more so implies, because the last combat, I think everybody except for me failed.
Correct.
And got a point of corruption.
Yes.
I'm not sure how that coincides of knowledge or...
Determining someone's corruption more or less requires some sort of psyker influence there. It becomes more obvious physically how corrupted someone is as they become more corrupted.
And there's no way of getting rid of levels of corruption, correct?
As far as you are aware, it is not.
Okay.
It would seem that there must be some way, otherwise, you know, Inquisitors and Space Marines at some point would be so insanely corrupted.
Gotcha. I'd ask about that bit of mechanics.
That's fine. I mean, of course you don't want to turn into one of those things that goes blah, 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 blam.
Yes.
That's normal.
He's referring to that which cannot be named.
Of course. Which path will you follow first, Acolyte? It seems that there are many choices in your future.
I imagine if what you believe is true, there's another Inquisitor on the ship that has come.
There is no belief. There is definitely an Inquisitor aboard the incoming fleet.
Oh, that's good. Well, I believe we should try to find our heretic as soon as possible.
How do you intend to do that?
I am going to have to do a lot of searching. Try to go through any sort of law enforcement or security systems as much as possible.
Very well. I will be otherwise disposed, preparing for the tithing.
Excellent. Well, in that case, we'll be on our way.
So he just nods and then turns back to doing paperwork.
What is the tithing?
So, every so often ships show up and are like, bring us your grain and your money and your Imperial guardsmen. And most importantly, bring us your psychers so we can take them to Earth and train them.
Yeah, every planet has a specific tithe they're entitled to give to the Imperium, depending on like what they're, if it's agricultural or if they have a Space Marine chapter, then they're exempt from that because the chapter gets its recruits from that planet, whatever. So
I wasn't aware that was what he was referring to.
So the problem is, of course, that this planet hasn't had contact with the rest of the Imperium in 100 years, and so owes a massive tithing. Probably one that it cannot immediately pay.
Sounds about right.
The doors begin. Well, I guess we're about to find out. The doors shut behind you as they usually do, and at that time, you all begin receiving messages. Apparently, communications within the Inquisitor's stronghold are shielded, at least inside the room. All three of you get a voicemail vox.
I'll answer mine, I guess.
Yours is from Planetary Lord Governor Colm Humes, requesting your presence at your earliest convenience.
Okay.
I'll pull mine up.
Yours is from your new Tempestus Prime, asking you to report for loyalty training and morale boosting.
I should probably go take care of that.
That'll bite. What's mine say?
Yours is from your Sergeant, Vikov. It just says report.
Respond, all is well.
We go to our Disney reports then.
Shall we split the party?
I think we kind of have to.
You don't have to. I'm not making you do anything. You guys have a time-sensitive investigation underway. You have to make some choices here, friends.
So I have to report for training?
I said what I said.
Well, my
estimation of how much time in game that would take.
You are unsure.
My duty and loyalty to my chapter comes before my loyalty to the Inquisitor, so I will report immediately as ordered.
I have to go report in. I'll be back as soon as I can. Ta.
Let me know when you're done. Or if you need to be busted out of jail.
I don't even say anything, I just fuck off.
But
I'm clearly moving with purpose.
Yeah, let's follow Kalrak. Describe Vikov for us. I don't know that we've ever...
I mean, Vikov looks very similar to Kalrak for anybody who doesn't know, all the Marines of a chapter kind of have a, not identical appearance, but definitely like if you put them in a line to be like, oh, they're all related. Just because of the way the gene seed works, as they grow, it kind of gives them all characteristics of their Primarch in a way. And obviously each chapter kind of favors their specific Primarch in facial appearance, hair color, eyes, skin, blah, blah, whatever. So it's very similar to Kalrak, very, very tall, shaved head, has some service studs, probably, at least maybe 2, maybe 3 service studs, denoting 2 to 3 centuries of exemplary service. But even though being a full battle brother, he's still wearing the carapace armor of the Scout Marines, because that's just that's what he does. So he just keeps his experience in training, the new generation of recruits. So we look like Rogel Dorn. No, we do not look like Rogel Dorn. Anyway.
Kalrak.
Sergeant?
Walk with me.
As ordered.
The two of you begin doing the Space Marine walk, you know, huge pauldrons, power armor, walking through basically a stone monastery that has been upsized for Space Marines. You can see, like, human servants scuttling in and out of the cells here, bringing people things, taking things away, cleaning.
Chapter serves.
Occasionally you pass a battle brother who is sitting in their cell, either, you know, working out or performing maintenance, something along those lines. You have been away from the chapter for too long, Kalrak.
I agree, Sergeant.
I have been receiving troubling reports about your behavior.
What reports, Sergeant?
You are considering the Eldar among your Inquisitorial cohort to be a boon companion.
Eldar has proven useful, and the Inquisitor seems hell-bent on using any and every ally we can get our hands on in rooting out the heretic, especially in regards to the Third Legion.
The Inquisitor is one thing, the chapter is quite another.
I agree.
I believe that you should attempt to attain a sense of spiritual purity. After the recent encounters with Chaos and your close association with the Xenos, it may be time for you to gain some emotional distance and perspective.
So ordered.
So he stops in front of a cell that now bears your name on a nameplate next to it and gestures through the door for you.
All right, I'll walk through.
Okay. At the same time, Eshairr, let's talk about your encounter with the Seers. I know that we've mentioned about I think it's called the War Mask.
Yes.
But let's talk about how exactly this process goes down. I, of course, know everything about it. But just in case there's someone in the audience who doesn't know, why don't you explain it for the class?
So most Eldar aren't warriors. Even the Eldar Guardians are actually more like an Ashigaru sort of peasant warrior force, which is just mobilized in battle. So warrior aspects like the Die Avengers or Howling Banshees, whatever, they develop a technique called the War Mask, where they do a ritual that completely pushes all of their emotions away for a battle. And then once the battle's over, they go through a ritual to remove the War Mask. And a lot of the memories of what happened in the battle will often pass as well. So certainly the memories that would cause emotion. So they could still say that this person died, you know, this person killed this person, whatever, but they wouldn't sort of be able to tell a story in the same way the Space Wolves could, for example. It's very much it's a clinical way of looking at battle after it. So given that Eshairr is not technically in a warrior aspect now as a ranger, probably before battle she's doing her own mini version of the War Mask ritual to try and avoid the emotional weight of battle, and then once again just a soft coming down in her own after battle. That being said, I mean, she would have done that before the big battles, but not for things like going into the factory. So because once they sort of push their emotions down, it does decrease their sort of, I guess, psychic perception somewhat, because they've dulled their senses to a lot of things. So yeah, she's probably carrying a lot of emotional baggage at the moment, and I guess that some ritual work, either with other warrior shrine people like the Aspect Warriors or the Autark, who would have been in multiple shrines, or once again the Warlocks or Farseers, because all Warlocks have been in warrior shrines as well. Otherwise, they're just Seers. So that's the sort of thing that she'd be doing, would be just trying to, I guess, psychically center herself again after that, which is usually done through like rote chanting, that sort of stuff. It's ritual. It's entirely ritualistic.
So you are down with your local seers, you know, just your normal local seer people. There's a bone singer and several warlocks who are here at the council who see you coming and simply gesture for you, Jedi Council style, to stand in the middle of a circle of them.
I'll do as instructed.
One of the seers leans forward and says, the energy coming off of you. Oh, sorry, I forgot. All right, I'm trying to do it this time. The energy coming off of you right now is very disturbing to us. Has your time among the humans unsettled you so much?
My current state is not just from the presence or being on the human world. I've also encountered a Rilitani, a solitaire on the world, and that encounter was itself difficult.
I mean, when you say that, there's a lot of people turning and nodding and whispering to each other while you're talking. Tell me more about this Rilitani that you've met with.
Although it's forbidden to speak with the solitaires outside of the scope of ritual, at first I thought her to be my twin. She didn't wear the mask of She Who Thirsts in the typical format, and so she had my face, or at least my mother's face, a mother that I thought had died over 100 years ago. And so when I encountered her, I sought her out, and we did briefly speak. She told me that my mother now served the Laughing God as a shadow seer, and that she was my half-sister. But we didn't speak much more than that before she fled, before she left anyway. And I had to flee too for my own life.
So you see two of the warlocks nodding and putting their heads together and, you know, whispering while glancing at you at the same time. You can just barely maybe make out what they're saying if you wanted to stretch your senses.
I'm probably a little bit too nervous to pry right now. So I'm probably like, you know, a lot of nervous shifting back and forward, twiddling of thumbs, probably distracted by the whole environment to really try and take in specific conversations.
Calm yourself, Ranger. The path you walk is one that was set down long ago, specifically for you. What you have done is as fate has required.
I serve fate, as we all do.
Some more than others.
Does my mission remain unchanged then?
When you say that, all the talking in the room stops, and everybody turns to look at you. And the warlock that you're speaking with says, "It is for you to make the decisions that you would on this particular path, and it is not for us to interfere with the Farseer's weave. For now, we can only offer guidance and relief."
Well, the presence of the Rilitani and the association with my family leads me to feel that I'm in the right place for me to be at the right time. I don't yet know the path in front of me, but I'm simply taking the next step as I go.
The warlock nods and stands, gestures for you, and says, "Come with me. We will sit together and speak until this burden that is upon your heart has relieved itself. To carry such emotions is dangerous for our people."
Right, I'll follow him off for a wailing montage.
Antipho, let's talk about you, friend. How do you approach your new unit? If you'll recall, you've requested a special transfer to a tank unit because you found out that rather than jump out of aircraft from really high distances and run on foot, you happen to really, really like tanks. And not just like any tank, but like really big tanks that fire lots of rounds.
Because really big tanks that fire lots of rounds are a lot of fun.
You know what the ladies like. Ladies like tanks.
And it gives
You can't pick up chicks in a tank.
The Halo series, I think proves that is wrong. I mean, you can pick up Cortana and put her in the tank.
There was like
making a red versus blue joke is what I was making there.
That's okay. I brought it back to Halo.
Oh, that's what it is, but.
So how do I approach them?
Yeah, I mean, are you in dress uniform? Are you in casual civilian clothing? Are you in your combat fatigues? What are we talking?
I'm in my armor.
Okay, all right. The tank commander is on top of his tank, and all of the tanks are doing formation drilling with the Imperial Knight. So they're doing, parade formation for discipline. The tank commander like slaps the side of the tank and says something into his headset, and then like jumps out of the moving tank, which is going several dozen kilometers, rolls on the ground, and then comes up in a crouch as if it was literally nothing, and begins walking over towards you as the formations continue in the background. And he says, Antipho?
Does this guy person outrank me?
Yeah, he's a commander.
Oh, sir. I snap to attention and salute.
Fantastic. Glad you're here. Now, look, son. Walk with me. There's a lot of walking with in this episode. I just realized that. Too much West Wing, I guess.
Well, I mean, all the Imperial stuff is like, oh, this building is a kilometer long.
Yeah.
So, you got to get from all the offices are like everybody's assigned an office that is like as far as possible away from where they actually need to go on a regular basis.
The show just got a good set budget.
Wait, everybody in 40K is in like really good shape. It's because they're constantly having to get so much exercise.
Now, look, son. I'm not one of those fancy Tempesters like yourself. I'm just a regular man, worked his way up the ranks, rose his way to a tank commander, like Lycus Santoro. And then as you turn around a corner, there is a enormous 70-foot mural of Lycus Santoro on the side of an 8-story barracks. As he comes forward, he salutes it. And he says, that man.
Well, that's just disturbing.
He's my hero. I hope one day to be as good as him. Hero of the Imperium.
I know him. I could probably introduce him to you.
By the Emperor. That would be fantastic.
Tell you what, here, I'll give you his comm code. I'll give you his comm code.
Thank you so much, son. All right, let's exchange details. After doing that, you get a few minutes of palling around with the commander, and then he's like, all right, back to business. Keep walking with me. Now, I'm not one of you Tempester sons of bitches. I wasn't raised since birth to be, the perfect soldier. The link between humanity and the Space Marines. The best of the best. He just docks Lycus? Yes, he did. Wow. Oh, boy. Wow. I mean, look, if Sid wanted to make this really bad, he would graffiti Lycus's comm number underneath his portrait. For a good time.
For a good time.
I realize that you're busy working with that Inquisitor fella. Doesn't sit quite right with me. Doesn't seem like he served any time in the guard. You and me, we're guardsmen, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I got a new unit that we've been bringing in. Mortar team. Their loyalty and morale is subpar. Rather than just outrightly execute them, I figured that someone like you, who has specialized training in this particular aspect, might be able to give them one last chance to set themselves right, for I see them in the wrong end of a laser rifle.
It would be good to not waste resources in training.
I agree completely. That's why I'm assigning them to you.
Very well.
Sorry, what are they called? Is it low sticks?
Yeah.
Okay?
LO
So
sticks.
you finally come to the end of the barracks, the far side of the wall that has Lycus's portrait on it, and there's a group of a few Imperial guardsmen, all smoking low sticks, sitting on crates, just like loaded armed rifles, no safety on, pointed in random directions. They're playing hot potato with a grenade. They see the commander. Not only do they not get up, they don't even bother saluting at any point. One of them is just like, "Greetings, fellow citizen. I'm Corporal Jenkins." The tank commander is just like, "Well, this is Antipho. He will be sorting you out to be soldiers. That's it. That's the only option. You will be soldiers when he's done with you. Good luck, son." He immediately begins calling up Lycus Santoro, and we'll get to that in just a minute.
Next time you should stay behind me.
Yes, the man is trying to body block for you so that way you can continue to salvo onto things.
I mean, I have multiple pistols. I could still continue to salvo just fine.
Antipho. These fellows here are just like, basically they've already dismissed you. They've gone back to throwing hot potato grenade. Oh, and it's a crack grenade too. Like if this thing goes off, whoever ends up with it is gonna die.
At least it's only going to kill one of them.
It'll kill one of them real bad.
Wow.
There will be a red mist where they were.
Can I cross my arms and stare at them for a minute?
Yeah, they're not paying any attention to you.
Tempted to execute one of them.
That is your prerogative if you would like.
Didn't know it was part of the commissariat.
Next tier.
So I got a bunch of idiots that
I mean, that's what Tempesters become, right? They become commissars at some point?
No, well, commissars are also trained by the Scala Progenium, but they're not. Usually, commissars are they're recruited from the same groups of recruits, but they're not like.
Okay.
One doesn't go into the other.
Well, he's getting.
I guess they could.
He's getting quick commissar training today.
It's not uncommon for commissars to be put in charge of guard units, so I would say it would be technically possible for a Scion to also have political officer duties assigned to him, maybe.
Oh boy, political officer. Immediately went to Red October.
That's what commissars are. They're political officers.
I thought they were just there to keep the psychers from going out of control.
No, they'll execute guardsmen for cowardice. They'll execute officers for cowardice, or like, not like hesitation. Like they'll execute anybody. They're there to keep moving. Keep the fight going forward. They're out. The commissariat is outside the guards' command structure. Like any commissar can outrank anybody up to like what a lord general, I think.
What is your?
Commissars have a rank within the military, but once again, they can override other ranks if it applies to what their purview is, but specifically, which is morale and loyalty and faith.
Yeah.
What is your plan, Antipho? You've observed them for a minute. So far, they've managed to not accidentally pull the pin of the crack grenade. You're not sure how. They seem to be the worst coordinated individuals to have ever joined the Imperial Guard.
I'll order them up off their asses and into formation.
So they don't disobey you, but the speed at which they respond is not one that you are accustomed to. There's a lot of slowly getting up, some little calisthenics and stretching, putting their guns down, moving into a 4-man squad formation.
Well, I can see that all of you are so out of shape you can't even follow a simple command in a timely manner. So we're going to start off the day by doing some exercises. Fall in. And we're going to start jogging.
Yay, PT.
And we're going to keep jogging.
I would like you to make 2 checks here, Sid Alpha. The first is in athletics at 3 difficulty.
Okay, is there a red die on this?
Yes.
Come on, why is my latency so high? 2, 4, 6.
I don't know why, but when you said red die, it made me think of Genesis.
I don't know why yours is.
Okay,
So, you expecting?
I have a total of 6 successes. How many do I need?
3. You could
so
upshift.
Yeah, I'll upshift 1.
What would you like to get out of that? Do it faster? Do it better? Get something more out of it, or pick up a glory?
I'm gonna get more out of it.
Okay. It is several hours of running with these guys, and they, once you got them going, they're surprisingly in shape. Whatever was happening before, maybe it was just from not stretching, but right around the 20th kilometer, you're slowly starting to get sweating, and they're, but they got it together right about now. No one's even thrown up yet. The next thing I'd like you to roll is a leadership roll. This is difficulty 5.
That's a shame. Leadership.
It's a shame.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you
the old
something
saying,
extra.
Run you until you throw up, and then run you some more.
The key is to give them spaghetti before making them run up Kuruhi.
Oh, okay, great. Band of brothers.
Okay, I'm gonna spend to re-roll on that, or can I?
I see. You can.
That's 2 successes.
Yeah. So by the end of this, you have gained their respect as a man and as a jogger, but not as a leader. Instead of
It's a start.
Instead of being squad leader, they just consider you one of the boys. After the running is done, the dice come out and they're just like, Antipho, come over here. One of them hands you a lit low stick, and it's just like, so, how much geld you got on you?
I just look at it. Like, I would never poison my body in this manner. And I just put it out on the armor.
Oh, like one of them immediately parroting you is like, I would never poison my body in this manner. And
I shoot him.
Okay. What gun do you shoot him with? You have such a variety.
I pull out my volley gun, rapid fire, full salvo.
The bolt pistol.
You don't want to arc shoot him to death?
No, I don't want to arc shoot him to death.
He's like, I'm gonna need that later.
Yeah.
I mean, you shoot him with a bolt pistol, and the wall behind him feels the impact of it. There's it's Dragon Ball Z style, there's an impact point with cracks coming out of it, a little crater. There's a hole where his chest was, and then there's the head looks down, and he's like, as he falls backwards. The rest of them now look fearful, and they're
I sheathe my pistol and I sit down and look at the cards. So what are we playing?
Oh my god. Okay, make it intimidation. I'm gonna set the difficulty here as 4. I have to tell you, if you fail this, it's gonna go poorly.
I wasn't trying to intimidate them.
That's
all right. Well, that's 1 success.
That's 1 success.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and spend it to reroll the failures.
I understand. That's a good call. It's a good call. Yeah, that's a pass. All right. You just went from having the least loyal to most loyal unit These guys, the three of them sit down immediately, begin like, one of them takes out a little uniform brush and begins brushing your uniform for you, and like pours out some of his water from his flask, and he's just like, "Of course, sir. Is there anything else that I could get you while we're doing this? Why don't we play a nice game of Old Maid? No need to play for stakes."
It is not better.
Who was that guy from Band of Brothers? The captain that everybody thought killed a shit ton of Germans? From another unit.
Captain Spears.
Captain Spears. Yeah, this is your Captain Spears moment, Antipho. People are going to be like, he killed all of the members of that team. I was there. I saw it.
And then he walks up, cigarette, and everybody's like...
Meanwhile, several hours earlier, we cut to Lycus. You're getting a call from an unknown number on your Vox line.
I guess I'll answer it.
Is this Lycus Santoro?
Yes. Who is this?
Take Commander Brody.
Okay.
I'm with the unit of Antipho Renato. I had expressed to that gentleman my intense desire to receive an autograph and or possibly meet you. He indicated to me you were a person that he knew and could provide me with the personal Vox number of.
Right. That sounds nice. We'll figure out some sort of date. I'm currently fairly busy.
I understand. I will call you back in exactly 3 days.
I just need one request from you.
I understand. What do you need?
I want you to run Antipho as hard as you possibly can.
I think he's already out there running a 20K.
Make him do more.
Very well.
Make him run until he can't run anymore, and then
I'll make him run until he throws up.
Sounds great.
All right. I look forward to talking to you again, sir. And can I just add, right before I hang up, that you are a hero of an Imperium, and you're my hero as well. I hope to serve the Emperor half as well as you do.
Excellent. Thank you. That means a lot.
We cut back into the future. Antipho is sitting down, about to play some Old Maid with his 3 remaining heavy weapons teamers, when from around the corner, Tank Commander Brody shows up and is like, "Antipho!"
I snap to attention.
I need you to keep running. I want to see you run until you're throwing up, and your men better be running with you.
I look at them. You heard him?
I mean, they're already running at this point. They're very afraid of you.
If you really want to get them, make them run with full packs and weapons.
I mean, that's what I was doing.
Oh, good.
Brody,
I'd like to request a replacement member of the unit.
We don't have any replacement members, Antipho. Keep running.
Make them like Weekend at Bernie's, the dead body.
So the tank commander gets in his Punisher, his Lehman Russ, and then follows you around the walking path for a while. He's just calling out, 1, 2, 1, 2. A hero of the Imperium told me to do this to you, Antipho. Lycus Santoro asked me personally to direct your running.
Well, that's fair, sir.
Meanwhile, we cut back to Lycus at that very instant, who is doing what?
I really wish they did not give my number out randomly to people. I guess he's going to the governor who requested his audience.
Yeah, the governor's dwarven chief of staff passes you through immediately without even looking up. Sorry, I guess they're not called dwarves, they're called squats. And are they canon or not? No one can ever tell me. They're in Rogue Trader, they're not in Rogue
Squats
Trader.
aren't, but there is a thing called demiurge, which are like stable, or like ratlings or something. They're just miniature humans.
Sure, that guy. He waves you through the door. The planetary governor, planetary lord governor, is standing at one of his massive banner tapestries, just like stroking the outside of it, and he says, "Good day! It is I, Lord Governor Colm Humes. Welcome once again," and he turns to face you. Lycus Santoro.
You're requesting my audience, sir?
I did. Come, look at this beautiful tapestry over here. Isn't the banner of my family's house in this subsector beautiful?
Yes, it seems quite nice, but I would like to know why you called me here.
Come over, come over. Oh my god, Connor showed up in chat. Just as Colm Humes comes out. It took 10 servitors, almost a decade to create this. Hand woven.
That sounds very...
He gestures, there's like 30 of these things around his massive palatial office.
Sounds very impressive, sir, but seriously, I have very pressing matters.
I have very pressing matters as well.
I would like to know what your matters are.
As you might know, I am a planetary Lord Governor, and as such, I have my own private tailor. In order to make all of my fantastic clothes, which I never wear twice, I donate, used suits to lesser nobility who aren't quite rich enough to afford a new suit every day. Very charitable act myself. No need to thank me for my great expenditures for the little people. However, my brother has encountered a problem. His favorite tailor was recently executed. Quite publicly, in fact, and he's flipping through some papers, by Lycus Santoro. Isn't that your name, Lycus?
Yes.
And since then, those 2 days ago, he's been trying to find a new tailor. Now, my brother Rycod Humes is a demanding man. I was hoping that you might be able to acquire another tailor for him. Fashion consultant. I understand that you are a busy man, a hero of the Imperium, the title that I gave you, of course, and that you're doing work for the Inquisitor. But you can satisfy my brother and get him off my back for me for a time. There's a new squad of Sororitas Battle Sisters on the way over from planet Valorum. I could assign them to your personal command. I understand that you work well with the Sororitas.
Yes. It's just how big is the squad?
It is a single squad.
So
that is 5 sisters.
I'll see to it when I can. I will find someone with hopefully better fashion sense than the last one.
Very well. And Lycus.
Yes.
I would appreciate a heads up next time you decide to take out one of my factory levels.
I will be sure to inform you as well as when I inform the Inquisitor.
That's a fantastic idea. It has set back production on this planet by 0.5%. 0.5%.
Yes, it's such tragedy, sir.
So he, just to be clear, he does not get your sarcasm in there. It is indeed a tragedy, and I am glad that you understand it, as we have a tithe coming. 0.5%. How do I even explain this? Fortunately, the Inquisitor will do most of the explaining, but I am a figurehead. Anyway, please, do what you can to satisfy my brother, Lycus. You may go now.
Excellent. I'll be on my way. Lycus will start heading out as yes, and now worry about some noble's fashion problems.
As this is happening, Colm begins singing to himself as he heads back over to his desk. He's got a nice tenor voice. Eshairr, let's talk about you.
Yes. Let's.
How do you feel about making a quick willpower rating check for me? Just rolling your willpower dice, just to see how well you can accomplish some, let's call it spiritual purity, emotional balance, something along those lines. I believe that let's make it a resolve test, right? Because That's how your intense emotions comes into play. It's 1 difficulty to all resolve tests.
Yep.
Yeah, let's make it a resolve test then. Difficulty 3.
So that's a fail. I got 1 success there.
Would you like to throw some wrath at that, perhaps, or?
Sure, why not? There. Oh. So that is a success then.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you managed to recenter yourself with the help of this seer, who just helps you walk through the process of what's happening. But most of what he's doing is just saying, like, this is all fate. Every part about this is all fate. Everything that happens for a reason. The far seer has a plan for you, and you are moving along that weave. Eshairr, I understand that you've gathered quite a military force to work with our autarch. Is that correct?
Yes, and quite surprisingly, the humans have given the autarch operational command in the coming battle.
Well, we are, I wouldn't say a superior race, but certainly in the last battle we proved our worth. I would as well, just not to them. They are an emotionally cantankerous people who are very accompanied by death at all times.
I think that the humans believe that our word Monkey actually means human. Mistakenly so.
Their ability to understand other races is extremely limited. I understand that most of the humans spend their time eliminating aliens as much as possible.
Yes, well, I've reached a sort of equilibrium with the Astarte scout among them. So we've managed to work well together.
That is what I find most perplexing. Well, far be it for me to get in between the two of you. Allow me to say this, then. I have taken a personal interest in continuing to guide you, so I'll be joining you the next time you head out onto the battlefield.
That would be of great benefit.
Yes, it would.
And once again, thank you for helping me to find my center again. I spent too long traveling among the Exodites I'd almost forgotten what it was like to be among craft welders again.
All things now are as they have been foreseen.
All right. Shall I return then to the human world?
Yes.
All right. Before I go, Arthur, I'm going to actually cash in this Ambition Knows No Bounds card.
I see.
To acquire an item of war gear tier +3.
I see.
I'm going to get an Eldar equivalent of a refractor field so I can remove my mesh armor and just blend in better with human clothes. So it's the same mechanical numbers as my mesh armor, but it's actually a force field rather than hard armor, so I can wear plain clothes and still have the same level of protection.
Excellent. Yeah, you head to the armory and they have one of those available before you even ask. And the armory person just like puts it on the table in front of you and says, all things now are as they should be.
Thank you. I'll bow and take it and make my way to the way portal.
Yeah, the person guarding the way portal sees you and just goes, all things now are as they should be. Points to the way portal. It's getting a little creepy, culty, weird.
It is, yeah. The greater good. Okay, no worries. I'll head back to the world.
Kalrak, how do you attain the spiritual purity expected of an apprentice battle brother?
Probably doing a deep introspection of himself and just trying to purge, like, think about his past operations and stuff, and just focus on the weakness of the flesh and how to purge it to be stronger, just as a resource for the chapter.
So that's your go-to is yeah, that your meaty parts are what's holding you back.
Well, that just any maybe mental or spiritual failures or anything that he's just replaying battles and stuff in his mind and seeing what he did wrong and how to be stronger in both physical and mental aspects.
Yeah, I mean, he must be swift as a coursing eagle. Let's have you make a resolve test, difficulty 3.
Okay. What's my... Oh, okay, so I am rolling 3. Is that Wrath die or not? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see what we get.
That is not a success, friend.
No, it's not. I'm gonna re-roll those. Two.
That is a success.
Okay.
After an unknown number of hours, your door opens and there is a full battle brother standing in your doorway, bearing a standard.
Okay. So he's a company standard bearer?
Yes.
Okay.
He is I think they're called company ancients.
Yeah.
You, come with me.
So ordered. I'm gonna follow him.
So his battle armor is a little bit bigger than yours. I mean, this is a big guy.
He's in full battle armor.
Yeah.
I'm just in carapace armor. I'm not even in power armor.
This is a big dude, and I mean, he's got a huge ass, company standard on his back. And as he walks, he says, "I have been ordered to speak with you about your relationship with the Xenos. The Imperium from time to time will ally with those who are not us in order to accomplish great tasks. And our position here is untenable without allies. But you would do well not to stray too far into emotion and sentiment with them. During your time attaining purity, what have you determined about your relationship with this exile?"
That it is necessary in our current campaign against the hated Third Legion, but that I must not let it distract me from my duties to the chapter. I'll also make a mental note to turn up my emotional suppressant implant slightly more, like one notch more, like like the inside of your fridge. One, another click.
Got to get it from 34 to 32 F.
Yeah. Fuck what the manufacturer says. I'll do what I want.
In what way might this Eldar cause you to stray?
To become possibly too comfortable with the presence of the Xenos, temporary allies as they are still not human, and ergo, in the end, must still be purged. For the name of our glorious Emperor.
Your answer is the correct and only answer that a battle brother should be saying. When next you take the field of battle, Kalrak Malkos, I will be accompanying you. I have been impressed by your devotion to the chapter.
Only in death does duty end.
Only in death does duty end.
It would be an honor to have you accompany me on the field of battle, Ancient.
Correct. He just turns down a hallway and separates away from you. It's clear that this conversation is over.
It's pretty normal for Iron Hands. I mean, they don't really have a whole lot of emotion.
For Iron Hands.
Yeah, it was actually pretty. That was a pleasant conversation as far as they're concerned. Usually they're pretty, it's pretty to the point.
Lycus Santoro, what can I say about you? If I recall from your previous dialogue, you were going to attempt to seek out a fashion consultant.
That's like very secondary objective.
Very well. What is your primary objective, sir?
Primary objective is try to go through whatever resources I can to find leads to the location of where Talbot aspects.
Talbot aspects? Yes.
Yeah, that guy.
Very well. Tell me more.
So the plan is to see what sort of security cameras I can get access to.
There are several picks, across the world. I wouldn't say that the Imperium of Maine is the United Kingdom, but there are definitely security sensors from time to time.
And then the second thing is to see if you can find people by facial features through some sort of like the standard thing you see in like, which probably doesn't exist or does this, I don't know, in like FBI or crime fighting shows where they go through pictures of people.
I mean, in Warhammer 40K, you probably have to do it manually.
facial recognition stuff. There's probably like a whole team of like Ministorum adepts.
I would say they'd be like, let's compare it to the 10 million citizens of the Hive, and then they like pull out a flip poster and they're just like, no.
I mean, there's literally an entire department on Terra of like thousands of adepts whose entire purpose is keeping track of what time it is on each individual planet. So it's just like legions of them. So I wouldn't doubt it that you could do that.
Yeah, let's have you go ahead and make 2 checks. The first will be an investigation to personally pick out the Talrand aspects from these pictures, or any sign of, let's call it, cult activity. Heresy, really.
Of course. What else would it be?
And the second one will be a attempt to bolster a Inquisitorial adept team into sorting through this information. Why does the table say 8675309?
Well, I had 8675 because that was the code for the thing.
Yes.
And I added 309.
Okay.
Yeah. James just added to the meme as all. So I have 8.
You have 8 investigation?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you need a 5. I think you're pretty well set. Just don't roll a 1 on the Wrath die.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I got a exalt on the Wrath die. Which
Yeah.
I would like to have it. What does getting an exalt on the Wrath die do?
When you shift it for more information, it should be just better information, or better, like, effectively, it's like an extra shift almost. It's entirely GM decision.
I'd shift that for. I'd say like better information to see if I can get pinpoint to where it is rather than a rough area.
I think we'll save that for the second roll. Having your team narrow it down. You would instead allow me to offer you that you get several clear cuts of both Talbot aspects and collaborators that he's meeting with. Him at a recaf shop, him smoking some low six with people. You begin building an idea of what his network is.
Okay.
You don't just find him, you find who he's talking to.
Excellent. And the other one, what was the other role?
The other check will be a leadership check in order to coerce your adept team into sorting these out by time and making a determination as to like where he is currently, where his base might be, who are all these people he's talking to, who needs to get blamed. Difficulty is 4. You succeed on every single die. Everything.
And I got another exalt on the Wrath die.
Yeah. All right.
Looks
You
like he had a ciabatta sandwich for lunch yesterday.
you find out that he
In the
is
same room.
he is spending a lot of time investigating a arbite. He is having people. He's meeting with people and then having them watch the arbite. He's also spending a lot of time with staff at the palace, the planetary fortress palace of Comhumes, the one where the Inquisitorial fortress is located. He's meeting with like low-ranking dishwashers, people who are responsible for servitor maintenance. At one point, he actually just meets with a servitor and plugs something into it. It looks like it's Heretic.
How long ago was that?
Days
Okay.
ago. The most damning thing you find is that just like those nobles on planet, he's keeping one of those really small palm dogs.
That's so
Absolutely disgusting.
Everyone with a
The
palm dog
heresy.
is obviously a heretic.
They're not dogs, they're rats with fur.
Lycus will take all this information and takes what he needs to figure out where he can get the location to find Taliban, and then give the rest to the Inquisitor and see if he can sort of, since the Inquisitor's mostly indisposed of, see if he can muster some teams out to find the other.
When you vox the Inquisitor, he does not answer.
Then Lycus will just leave him a message with the information that he's found and try to see if he can muster some other teams that can maybe spread out to take care of some of the things that he might have put Heretic into or whatnot.
Very well. Based on everyone's role playing, I determine that you have met your objectives for this episode, and so I'm awarding each of you 1 point of wrath. Just in time for us to take our break. When we come back, the team will meet up, and Lycus will explain the good fortune he's had of making a break in the case for the first time ever. For the first time in forever, he thinks he's got a chance.
This time, not literally, just metaphorically.
Okay. We'll be back for the second half in about 8 minutes. Stick around. Fire noises.
Swoosh.
Da-na-na-na.